Okay, thank you all for coming. We'll follow the same format we've been doing. We will start with our 2-minute intro, go into our questions, and have our 2-minute closing. We're going to start our 2-minute intro right here with Michael Harsey.
People ask, who is Mike Harsey? What do I want people to know about me? First and foremost, I am a Christ follower, a man of God. Paraphrasing Proverbs 22-1, a good name earned by honorable behavior, godly wisdom, moral courage, and personal integrity is more desirable than great riches, and favor is better than silver and gold. I have a strong moral compass, value my integrity, and sometimes get a little more passionate about my beliefs than I probably should. My word is my bond. I won't make promises to gain votes that I don't plan on keeping. I'm also a rancher. I work hard, and I promise to work hard for the citizens of Sheridan County. I've managed personnel, equipment, and budgeting. I'm a problem solver and a student of the principles of cause and effect. I can successfully implement those qualities into the office of County Commissioner. I'm running because I'm concerned over the massive tax increases over the last 4 years. They're up 57% in Sheridan County, as well as an increase of 79% in the general fund spending. I'm dedicated to accomplishing more with what you have, not spending money or time unnecessarily. I am a constitutionally conservative Republican adhering to the Bill of Rights. I am currently the Vice Chair of the Republican Party of Sheridan County. It is important to be fiscally responsible, and it is incumbent upon the county commissioners to be available to the citizens, not only to just listen, but to actually hear their concerns and actually follow through to a positive resolution. I'm a lifelong Wyoming resident, born in Sheridan, and I've lived here for the last 45 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Lynn Custis.
Hello. I hope everyone is having a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you to the Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event, and to David Schwinn, our moderator for this evening's forum. For those of you I have not had the pleasure to meet, my name is Lynn Custis, and I am running to be your next county commissioner. I am a Wyoming native, and I have been honored to live in Sheridan for the last 25 years. I met my husband Kenny here, and we've been blessed to raise our family in this community. I am proud of my involvement supporting Sheridan County through volunteer events and boards over the years. I served Holy Name School as a chairperson for their Mayfest event, and served as a coordinator for Wyoming Rehab's annual Hoop Jam event. I also chaired the Sheridan County chapter of the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation for the last 10 years, and have continued to increase their profitability of this event, which supports wildlife conservation. I had the opportunity to serve on the Sheridan and Johnson County Child Support Authority Board, which gave me a stronger understanding of the challenges that face the system. I currently serve on the Sheridan Parks and Recreation Board, which has afforded me the opportunity to work with others to preserve and develop our recreational opportunities in Sheridan County. I graduated from the University of Wyoming in 1992 and have worked different industries over the last 30 years, including retail sales, hospitality, banking, oil and gas, healthcare, and human services. I am proud of my diverse background that I have, and I feel my experience would be of benefit to Sheridan County. My mission statement moving into this election is to help me preserve our Wyoming way of life. As a conservative Republican, I believe in preserving that way of life for Sheridan County's residents. I will strive to protect public access rights, work hard to maintain fiscal responsibility in the county, and advocate for the health and safety of Sheridan County's residents. Thank you.
Nicholas George.
Hello, my name is Nick George. I was born in Montana. I got here as quick as I could though. I went to elementary, junior high, and high school in Casper. Me and my wife, we moved here in 2008. We have 3 children. As far as I can tell, they're Democrats. They don't work, and they're always asking for money. I own a company called Wyoming Amusement. We do pool tables, dart machines, shoe boxes. Odds are, if you've gone last 6 years in Cheyenne. I lobbied on behalf of my own company, and that was really kind of what gave me the desire or drive to seek elected office. I guess being a part of a solution seemed like a better idea than just sitting around and complaining. So I guess I'm all ears. I know that there's a lot of stuff that I don't know, but I feel I'm a quick learner. I've been successful in what I've been able to do, and I think that I can utilize that moving forward. So thank you guys.
Thank you. John Heineman.
Hello, and thank you to the Chamber for putting on this event. I'm John Heineman, running for the 2-year term on the County Commission. I'm going to take a little time, and this time allotted, to briefly describe myself and my perspective. Most of my working life has been in production agriculture, but I've worked in various industries and roles, ranging from industrial sales to corporate governance. I'm a gun owner and a sportsman. I have deep family roots in Sheridan and have been involved in many of our community's nonprofits. My wife, 27 years, and I both grew up on family cattle ranches. Our 3rd child just graduated from the Sheridan school system. We are members of the Episcopal Church. I come from a culture of engagement, of getting involved. I believe in public service. I invested in the West, in Wyoming and Sheridan in particular. The opportunity to serve Sheridan is exciting, particularly in the role of County Commissioner. One of the things I care most about is land and land use. As nerdy as it sounds, I get very excited about land and planning. County commissions are unique in their ability to guide how and where development takes place. The aesthetic impacts and financial and environmental costs of scattershot development are extremely high. I've worked with numerous county commissions throughout Wyoming to help them understand the financial benefits to land use planning. I understand the origin of Sheridan's plan, the extensive processes used to solicit public input, the effort to write the plan, and the discipline to follow it. It has not always been perfect, and certainly has not always been easy, but it has provided a guardrail for how development takes place and how our community grows. It's working as intended right now, and when elected, I will work to keep the plan at the forefront of the Commission so that growth takes place on our terms. We can't shut the doors to growth, but we can manage it so our community continues to grow responsibly. Thank you.
Thank you. Holly James.
First, I want to thank the Chamber for putting on this event and for everyone coming today. Apologize, I got a little bit of a sore throat, so if you'll bear with me. I'm Holly Jennings, and I'm running for the 2-year unexpired term. I am a lifelong Republican Party, and unfortunately, I wasn't honored to be born here in Sheridan County. I wish I was, because I'd love to have that badge of being a natural-born Wyoming citizen. But I moved here 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago. Went to Sheridan College, got my associate's degree, then went up to MSU Billings and got my bachelor's. Again, I made another decision, and that was to move back to Sheridan County. And it's my home. Has been for, like I said, almost 20 years. When I moved back, I worked several different jobs, manager of a health food store, lead mentor at VOA Milestones Youth Home, and now I'm a small business owner of my own photography business. I was appointed to the County Commission by a judge last September, and every day since then, I've spent in my office listening to citizens, making sure I read every packet and research every topic before I vote on it. I spend time questioning our department heads and asking them, you know, what is this that we're getting ready to vote on, and what could happen with it. I think that's the #1 priority. It's why I'm asking for your vote, because I believe that actions speak louder than words.
Harley Shuck.
Oh, for those that don't know me, Harley Shuck. My wife and I have been landowners here in Sheridan County for over 30 years. Like Holly, I wasn't blessed to be born in Wyoming. I was born one state to the east of here. For those in the know, it was West River and not East River. I have also spent some time when I was younger in a certain state that's out on the west coast, north of California and south of Washington, and seen what they did out there, and a lot of it's the reason that I left there. I'm here by choice, not by accident, and I would in to take a little bit of a different tack with the land use planning that we're talking about. Because I think if you own property here, nobody should tell you what to do with that property but you. You're the one that invested in it and built it. And our land use planning has gotten out of hand. If you want to build a shop or if you want to build a storage building on your property, I think that's up to you. Obviously, we're going to have some rules. You can't build it on your neighbor's property line, common sense, things like that. But we need to get the government out of everybody's lives. And that starts down here at the county level. We also need to stop throwing money away. I would invite everybody here, if you haven't, to come down to the courthouse and have a look at our Brook Street construction there and the wonderful park that we're building there. And this is on the county website. Don't take my word for it, you can look it up. The current phase of that project is worth $2.25 million. I think that money could have been well spent somewhere else, anywhere else. So if you would like to see things like that come to an end, I would welcome your vote.
Thank you. Lonnie Wright.
Thanks everyone for coming out. I'm Wright. I'm one of the current commissioners. Since we're doing the birthplace quiz, I was born in Germany. My dad was in the military, and my mom was there, obviously, so I was born in the U.S. military hospital. I've been a commissioner for the last 3.5 years, and one of those years I was the chairman. I've lived in Sheridan County for about 34 years. Some of my volunteerism and community activities. I've been a volunteer with the Bighorn Fire Department for over 21 years. I'm a member of the Bighorn Lions Club, Bighorn Education Fund, Sheridan Wild Rodeo Board for 13 years, Sheridan College Ag Advisory Board, currently the chairman of the Bighorn Fire District. I'm a conservative Republican, despite what some of these people up here might think. But I've been a Republican my whole life. I'm very interested in continuing fiscally controlling spending because people talk about public funding. That public funding is kind of a funny word. That is your money that we have to use. It's not our money, it's not anybody's money, it's the public's money. So I'm really interested to control the spending make sure we're doing it in a very fiscally responsibly way. Also, have a real strong interest in the safe, secure, and viability of our water resources. Currently, at the county, I'm on the tripartite board, Sheridan County Joint Powers Fire Board, SALS Joint Powers Board, Sheridan County Weed and Pest Board, Wyoming Local Government Liability Pool Board, and more recently I was on the Sheridan County Sheridan County Historic Preservation Commission. I'm a small business owner, very used to budgeting, insurance issues, paying taxes, and payroll. And my wife and I have 8 children, 3 of which live in Sheridan County with their families. Because of my 7 local grandchildren, I have a strong interest in the future of our county and our state. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to roll into the first question. Lonnie, you were going to go first. Then we'll rotate back over this side and around. First question, and I'll reread it later if anybody needs me to. What do you believe should be the top 3 priorities for the commission?
That's actually fairly straightforward. I mean, we do a lot of things, but road and bridges are really, really important. Also, our law enforcement and detention center is very, very important. And actually, we're doing our budget right now, and it is the biggest budget item in our budget is law enforcement and the detention center. And the other important thing I think is try to reducing our property taxes and or affordable or attainable housing. Thank you.
Thanks. Michael?
Number one, listening to the citizens, investigating their concerns and following through on commitments. Not over-promising, but striving to do what is in the best interest for the county as a whole and not special interest groups. Number two, be honest, open, and transparent. Spending funds wisely. Number three, when considering future growth, always consider the master plan.
Thank you.
So I think the three most important responsibilities would be maintaining road and bridges. That is a big responsibility for the county. The detention center and jail, so I agree with Mr. Wright. And then just that overall being fiscally responsible in all of the budgeting in the county, making sure we do the best we can with the resources that we have.
Thank you. Nick?
So I think that our number one would be currently probably federal land payments. So the federal land that is within our county, they're supposed to give us payment in lieu of taxes. Our taxes have gone up a considerable amount, but for some reason they have the amount that they give us as payment does not. That's something that I believe the county commission could devote time towards actually getting that money for us. And roads and bridges and other stuff. Sorry, that's not good. I got one good one.
Okay, thanks. John?
I think the roles, the duties and roles of the county commission are reasonably straightforward. It's administering the office of administering the business of the county and maintaining or adhering to the comprehensive plan. I think the county's going through some really interesting times. We've grown significantly. There's over 30,000 people in this county now. That was not the case very many years ago. And so we're grappling with workforce housing. And I think the county has a role to play in that. We want to make a free market run, but we have a responsibility to play in that field as well.
Thank you. Holly?
So my top three priorities that I believe should be for commissioners. Number one, infrastructure. I know everybody talks about that, but really prioritizing that in our budgeting process being number one, and not just roads and bridges, but also water and sewer, and our sheriff's department and our fire department. Number two is fiscal responsibility. Our property taxes are tied to mill levies, and mill levies are directly tied to our budget as well. We need to make sure we are prioritizing needs over wants. Number three is transparency. When I talk to citizens, very few of them know what's happening or what's being discussed by the commissioners. And I think we really need to work on further opening up lines of communication, especially to our smaller communities like Dayton and Manchester, and Claremont, Story, and Bighorn.
Well, going last here, kind of everything is taken, but I will agree that the position of the county commission is primarily concerned with infrastructure and providing for the needs of the county residents here. But beyond providing for taking care of the roads, we need to get the county out of everybody's personal business, and we need to move forward with a lot of things. We can do a lot of things better and not waste the county taxpayers' money. I think that's probably the biggest item. We need to put a clamp down on this wasteful spending. In addition to what's there by the courthouse, there's also a commissioner's vehicle for about $90,000 that's tucked away.
Okay, thank you. We're going to go to question number two. We're going to start with you, Harley. Would you choose to subdivide or change ag zoning in the county for non-ag development?
That kind of comes back to the question of who makes the decision on your property? If you've got land that may be ag zone, you know, who's owned that? Does the property owner have any say in what happens to that land or not? If it's good ag zoned land out away from everything, then maybe that's not a good fit. If you've got land butted up against the city, the only thing you're gonna do by denying any development at all on that property is skyrocketing property values. People do need a place to live, and I'm not in favor of bringing wholesale everybody in here, but by tying up land and not allowing any development, all we're doing is raising our values and the taxes.
Thank you. Lonnie,
Could you repeat the question?
would you choose to subdivide or change ag zoning in the county for non-ag development?
Well, right now, the way it works, and I guess I'm not sure what you're asking, but right now the way it works, if we have a rancher that wants to subdivide from ag to like develop his land for a subdivision, he has to get the zoning changed, and I'm not sure if that's what you're asking me or what, but we run into this all the time. You have a developer who wants to develop some land, and you have a bunch of neighbors who probably don't want to see that development. So it can be a hard decision, but it's one that we have to make.
Thank you. Michael? Yes. Would you choose to subdivide or change ag zoning in the county for non-ag development?
Several years ago, the county came up with a comprehensive plan. I think it needs to be followed as closely as possible because there's a lot of input into that, where things need to go, things like that. Landowners should have the opportunity to bring their concerns about subdividing or something like that if they're forced out, and they need to have the ability to do that, but through careful consideration of the county plan.
Thank you. Lynn?
So I think an owner has to look at what is best for their land, but that they then have to take that to planning and zoning to get their zoning changed. That is part of the reason I believe we've got a board that works with planning and zoning, so there are a lot of different people looking at, is that the best use of that land for the community? So really just looking at overall what makes the most sense for the community.
Thank you. Nick?
I think it'd have to be on a individual basis. Just when you ask the question in my head, I could see arguing it both ways, because in some instances it would make absolute sense and it would be a yes, and in some instances it would probably be a no. There's not really a defined answer.
Okay, thank you. John?
I think this is a classic case, and this is where county commissioners live: subdivisions and gravel pits, and it's not easy. And you know, Mike, the comprehensive plan was put in a lot of years ago, and there was a tremendous amount of public input, and there was a whole visioning process, and there was a lot of work and energy that was put into this plan, and it was designed to try and protect public space or open space. But I mean, there is a process to change the zoning of your land and then subdivide. It might not always fit, but it's what we as a people decided, you know, years ago. I think it's a good plan. It's strict and it's ambitious. It's one of the most aggressive use plans in anywhere in the West, not just the western counties, but any of the western states.
Thank you. Holly?
So as a commissioner, I will tell you subdivisions are always one of the most difficult decisions, like Mr. Heineman said, subdivisions and quarries, which we've got both on the next meeting. So if you're interested in listening, it'll be July 2nd. But I look at two different things when we're talking about subdivisions. One, and it's the priority, is private property rights. But we also have to look at the fact of, do those private property rights that infringe on somebody else's rights? You know, is it going to happen on a very very fast road, or is there water issues with sewers that could be contaminated? All of those things you have to balance those. But again, always leaning towards private property rights.
Thank you. We'll go to question number 3. We'll start with Holly, same rotation. When working on the county budget, what are you most concerned with?
So I firmly believe that it is very important to make sure that our infrastructure, including water, sewer, roads, and bridges, and sheriff and fire, as I said before, are of good quality and usefulness. That our emergency services remain up to date and top quality. Beyond that, I know the record-breaking inflation and increased prices in everything from gas to food is hurting everyone. We need to take a harder look at every budget decision we make and determine if it is an absolute need or just a want. I want to make sure we are very frugal with your money.
Thank you. Harley?
Well, I would agree with a lot that Holly just said. When it comes to budgeting, we need to be mindful that any money that we have to spend is not our money. We don't have anything to spend if it doesn't come out of the taxpayers' pockets. And that is what we need to keep in mind. We need to not waste money. There's enough of that going on out there. Examples, and if anybody really wants to research that, it's on the county website. Everything is there. I would be glad to tell you how to find it. Let's keep track of what's going on and let's hold everybody accountable, and if I'm in that position, I would expect everybody to hold me accountable for that too.
Thank you. Lonnie?
Yeah, I would agree with everything that Holly said, and most of what Harley said. I want to clarify a couple things Harley said. The Brook Street project, to clarify that a little bit, that piece of property was basically given to the county, and so as part of the county, it is part of the courthouse campus. So it was a slalom ski slope right next to the courthouse in the wintertime, and a broken up piece of concrete in the summertime. So as part of the courthouse campus, we are in charge of maintaining it along with the courthouse and the parking lots and everything else. So that's why that is the way that is. And the $90,000 is for actually 2 vehicles. Thank you.
Michael?
Yeah, I think the priority needs to be in essential services. That's, to me, the most important thing that county can do for its citizenry. Also, city and town residents are also part of county residents. We coexist and are not, should be subordinate to each other. We should be looking for ways to maximize our funds and utilize common equipment when possible. As an example, share equipment to save the citizens money and not purchase redundant equipment when so much of it just sits idle, most of these non-used. Spending taxpayer funds unnecessarily. As an example, buying multiple lawnmowers for the various facilities, wouldn't it be cheaper just to move one lawnmower to different parts of Sheridan to take care of the lawn?
Okay, thank you. Lynn?
I think the important things in the budget are, I agree with Holly on maintaining the needs versus the wants. We need to be responsible to the residents of Sheridan County and maintaining a balanced budget, not spending more than what we bring in. And then, as well as those essential services with law enforcement and the maintenance of the county roads as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Nick?
Can you re-ask the question, please?
Yes. When working on the county budget, what are you most concerned with?
Being fiscally conservative. I think that just because we have money in a budget doesn't mean it has to be spent. We could potentially not spend money at times, where I think that it just winds up being spent. Sorry, every time she does this, it throws me off. Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay, thanks. John?
I think
it's been said several times, we have obligations to maintain our infrastructure and emergency services. I think that's the must-dos with the budget. I think the budget is getting more complicated. Property tax changes at the state level. I don't think the county assessor, I think the treasurer knows what that impact is going to be on our local budget, and I think that's going to be a challenge to wrestle with. I don't know that picking on lawnmowers and the individual, if there's a ton of pork in the county budget, I'm not familiar enough with it. There's a lot of professionals and good people working for the county, and I've got more confidence in them than to think that we're throwing money away willy-nilly.
Thank you. We're going to go to the last question, and John, we'll start with you. How are concerns regarding the growing population of Sheridan County incorporated into your management decisions?
Well, I think I said before, I don't know that I've got management decisions to offer, but the population is growing, and you can see that impact on the lack of housing stock and the lack of affordable housing stock. Workforce housing is a big deal. So what I would advocate for the county is to be involved in those conversations, partner with the city and with the state and whomever possible we can find to try to come up with solutions that make sense. It's not easy. There's no panaceas. And you've got to be engaged in order to find solutions that work for our people.
Thank you. Holly?
So Sheridan County is a very sought-after place to live. It's very evident to me that every time I talk to someone who's moved here recently, I came here for our values, our amazing landscape, and our abundant resources. With that growth, we need to make sure that our basic services are adequate and that we keep up with the growth, but that we also protect the values of individualism and personal freedom that tie all of the citizens together. It's how I make my decisions, talking to individuals. And it's those citizens that have been here, whether you've been here 100 days or 100 years.
Thank you. Artie?
Well, like we've said, our population is growing, and we do have a desirable place to live, as some of us can attest that weren't lucky enough to be born here. We need to guide some of these decisions, but I'm not sure that we can, as a board or as individuals, tell people what they can and can't do with everything that they come here to own. People are going to come here, and we need to make decisions that are not just going to drive property values up. People are going to come here with money, and we can't stop that. There's nothing that we can do, but we need to ensure that we're not doing things that drive these prices up, because frankly, these other people come in with money, but we have to live with everything that they bring.
Okay, thank you. Lonnie?
Yes, sir. With the growing population, the lack of affordable and attainable housing is an extreme problem. The county and the city have gone together to do a land trust, and they have plans to build 30 homes up on the north end of Sheridan. It's not quick, it's not fast, it's not instant. It takes time and it takes planning, and that's one thing that we've done, is to take some ARPA funding we had and donate it with the city's other half and get that program rolling. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael?
Yeah, of course Sheridan's a desirable place to live, and we can't stop the influx of people moving in here. But ensuring new subdivisions pay for themselves and are responsible for their own infrastructure and additional burdens placed upon existing roadways, that's important. Existing taxpayers also should have paid their dues, and it should not be their responsibility to pay for expansion of new subdivisions by the developers. New construction must be built to county standards also.
Thank you. Lynn?
The concerns of the growing population of Sheridan County, a a lot of it is around housing. You know, the availability of housing is very slim, whether it's people moving back into our community and not being able to find housing. But also, I think, working with the employers in the county as far as the challenges that they're facing with bringing new employees in. Is there something besides housing that is a challenge? I know that there are a lot of daycare challenges in Sheridan as well. Not sure that's a whole lot the county can do about that, but I think just being aware of what the challenges are that are out there. Thank you.
Thank you. Nick?
Yeah, so our growing population is causing, we're starting to have issues where we're not, sorry. I have 15 employees, and out of the 15 that I have, 5 of them own their own home. That means 10 of them rent. Right now, I'm trying to find homes, if you look in that $150,000 to $250,000 price range, are almost non-existent. I think the only way that we're going to get more housing is if there's, you know, some of the places that are subdivided actually, that those things actually happen. I don't know if that's anything that can just be set forth to do. Someone has to, from private industry, has to do that, and they have to be voted on by the county commissioners, but I don't stop.
Okay, thank you. We're going to go through our 2-minute closing, and we're going to start with Nick and take the same rotation. Nick?
Yeah. Again, I'm somewhat new to this. I think I've gone to quite a few county commissioner meetings, and it's funny because when you go into them, you see what they're dealing with, and it's not anything like what's on this panel, right? Usually they're talking about, you know, the zoning of stone, things like that. I think a lot of those things are you know, really common sense issues, but the problem that we run into in Sheridan, I've gone to probably 10 county commissioners meetings, and there's maybe 2 or 3 people in there at every meeting, so they're not well attended. But then whenever I go to get my haircut, everybody has an opinion on what happened at that county commissioners meeting. So I think if people spend more time actually listening to the issues and maybe talking with their county commissioners, I think that there is already currently a pretty high level of transparency. At some point it has to fall on everybody to actually go in there and watch and keep people accountable. I think that I'm someone that's I'm easily reachable. My shop is right off of 5th Street across from the Health Net. I have no problem talking with people, discussing issues, things like that. Thank you very much for coming out tonight.
Thank you. John?
Hi, thank you again. I'm running for the 2-year term, specifically for several reasons. Firstly, my opponent was not elected, but rather appointed, and everyone serving on the commission should be selected by the public. Secondly, although not completely your fault, the appointment process was highly contentious and resulted in a lawsuit costing the public upwards of $70,000. Leaving that aside, in the brief time since she joined the commission, she's taken a handful of positions that I just believe are wrong-headed, and if they were allowed to take effect, would damage our county and our economy. In the name of financial conservatism, she's voted against public safety by withholding support for a grant paying to update our wildlands fire plan. She voted against our most vulnerable seniors by withholding financial support for the Little Goose transit system, against the airport safety by opposing grant funds addressing multiple safety issues, the Bighorn Women's Club by denying financial help to install a handicap ramp, against county employees by denying a one-time bonus rewarding workers for keeping things running smoothly and efficiently despite numerous unfilled positions. These decisions are not fiscally prudent. In fact, I'd argue they're irresponsible. And with more time, we can and we should expect more bad decisions, jeopardizing decades of progress for some of our most important institutions. My business experience in agriculture and finance, my passion for open space, my history of community involvement, my record of working with complex organizations and complicated budgets are all assets I can bring to the Sheridan Commission. My extended family has been here for generations, and I would argue we've made some significant contributions. I am committed to this community, and I'm prepared to contribute. I'm running for the 2-year term, which means the learning curve will be steep. I look forward to listening to and communicating with my fellow citizens, learning the nuances of the commission, and serving Sheridan County. Thank you for your time. Please vote Heineman in the Republican primary for the 2-year term.
unexpired term. You know, all the decisions that my opponent just talked about, I made those based on this document right here, the Constitution, the Wyoming Constitution, also on the U.S. Constitution. You know, when we talk about spending and some of these things with grants, there's some mighty horrible strings that are attached to those.
Okay, quiet. Let her talk.
I printed this off because this is our current revenues and expenditures. We're $3.3 million more in this upcoming year than we were last year. And already, with our revenues, it looks like we're gonna have $372,000 that we've still got above what the revenues that came in versus the expenditures. We got a lot of issues that we gotta solve, and I don't think they're solved by just handing out money to everyone. Further than that, I'm running on 3 main points. Transparency. Not transparency of anybody else but myself. What I say and how I vote, they must match up. If they don't, that's not integrity. Second is accountability. We need to follow the U.S. Constitution, the Wyoming Constitution, and state statutes. And number 3 is fiscal responsibility. I said it before and I'll say it again. You know, every time that we make a decision to spend money, we're spending your money. It's not our money to spend on the commission and on the board. So I would ask for your vote. If you have questions about my votes, I'll certainly sit down and talk with any of you. Thank you.
Harley?
Well, I applaud Holly for everything she said. If I get your vote, you can count on me to be transparent. If you want to talk to me, talk to me. I'm in the phone book, as most people aren't anymore. But I think the county needs to be careful with everybody's money. And property values have been run through the roof. We're paying too much in taxes anymore. We need to look at some ways to cut that back. The property, or the cap tax is coming up for a vote shortly, probably going to be this fall. I'm going to go on record right now as saying I would say we should vote it down. If we're going to throw money around like we did on that Brook Street project and some of the other things we do in this county, county doesn't need any more money. They've got more than they know what to do with already. So if you want some fiscal responsibility and somebody to question some of this stuff, then here's the name. Thank you.
Thank you. Lonnie?
Thank you. First and foremost, thanks to the Iowa Theater and the Sheridan County Chamber for putting this on. Sheridan County's business is a multi-million-dollar entity. We need people who have common sense, conservative ideals, and can make sound financial decisions on the county level. Being a commissioner, you listen to all the things that have been said. Basically, it's providing service to you all, to citizens of Sheridan County. When you come in to get your license plates renewed, or come in to argue with the county assessor about your property taxes, you don't want to be standing in line for like half a day. You want quick service, you want efficient service. So that's what I look at as a big thing that we need to provide. I'm transparent, responsible, and dedicated. My phone number's in the paper every other day, it seems like. Anybody wants to check my voting record or ask me about anything, I'm available. We want to, as a commission, we want to maintain a high standard of living that we have now. We don't want, you know, what Sheridan County is, we don't want that to get away from us. I don't know what to call it, but it's that thing that we all love about Sheridan County, whether it's the mountains, the Western lifestyle, all of those things that you can call our beautiful community. Anyway, I'm running for a 4-year seat, and I appreciate your vote, and Thanks for coming out.
Michael?
Sheridan County is growing at an exponential rate. In my opinion, new residents have an obligation to assimilate into the community and not make long-term residents feel disenfranchised. We are all responsible for working together and to be diligent in preserving our quality of life. This coming August 20th, you, the voters, can have your voice heard in Sheridan County. I urge you to carefully research the candidates. If you are voting Republican, please don't just vote because they have an R behind their name. How long have they been Republicans? Do they represent Republican conservative values, or did they change parties just to get your vote? Please check into their positions on the issues. Do they have a voting record or a track record that best represents your interests? The words integrity, transparency, and trust must be delivered and not misused. I am not a tax and spend candidate. I believe citizens should have more input and control on how their taxes are spent. I value and will consider stakeholders' input to help me make wise decisions and informed decisions. In my opinion, the commissioner meetings should be held where and when the citizens can attend. Eventually, the normal meetings should actually be video recorded, posted, and available to anyone that cannot attend those meetings. Recordings of the meetings will hold the county commissioners accountable for their comments and decisions. I would consider it an honor and a privilege to serve Sheridan County in the office of County Commissioner. I pledge to be truthful, transparent, listening to constituents, and represent your interests in county government. Wyoming is what America used to be. Let's keep it that way.
Yes. Thank you. Lynn?
I would like to once again thank the Chamber of Commerce, the White Oak Theater, and everyone that was involved in creating this opportunity for all of us to share our experience and passion to serve as commissioners. During my professional career, I have become a leader that I am proud of. As a commissioner, I would work hard right alongside others to help keep the Wyoming value that we want to maintain here. I believe my leadership style has enabled me to gain the trust and respect of those that I work with, and that my leadership is not only an action but is also a passion that will bring the best outcomes while utilizing the resources that we have available. I believe I'm an active listener and can bring people together from different perspectives to come to a common understanding of decision. My experience is broad. It includes budget development and management, contract administration, procurement, business development, project management, and small business ownership. Through all of these experiences, I believe my leadership qualities have led to my success. I believe it is crucial as a county commissioner to make sound decisions while maintaining fiscal responsibility. As your commissioner, I will listen to all sides of the issue facing the county. I will work with others to solve those challenges and make decisions that meet the needs of the constituents. Thank you, and I look forward to serving you as your next Sheridan County Commissioner.
Thank you. Let's give all our candidates a round of applause. Well, that's the second time I messed up tonight. I apologize. Who did I miss?
Mike's first.
Hey, I didn't make a mistake. Woo!
Mine was awesome. I couldn't cheer. It was great.